Hi, this is Tara with Love Prevails. Thank you again for joining us today. I have my friend Wesley here. How are you, Wesley?
Good morning, Tara. Doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm really glad that you were able to join me today. And Wesley at Love Prevails, what we do is we offer intervention support services and peer support services for people that are struggling with addiction. Maybe you have a family member or somebody you love that is struggling with addiction. We'd love to be able to hear from you so that we can, can walk you through this process. You just spent some time in Costa Rica. How was that?
It was excellent, amazing. I just got back last night. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
It was epic.
I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Was the water warm and really
It was
nice?
amazingly warm. The beaches were beautiful, and yeah, I was just thinking about that this morning when I woke up that 7 years ago, none of that would have been possible.
Yeah. What's it like going on a vacation like that and being sober?
Oh, it was incredible. I think that's the best part of going on a vacation, enjoying being lucid and enjoying every moment.
Yeah.
Without having to worry about losing keys, whatever, money. Yeah. What did I do last night? Waking up feeling like crap. I don't miss that one bit, but
Yeah.
it was, and I had the energy to do the things we wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds amazing. I've never been to Costa Rica, but I do want to go.
It's beautiful jungle country.
Yeah.
You're either on the beach or in the jungle, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Sounds amazing. Lots of monkeys.
Lots of monkeys.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Lots of wildlife.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So before we started recording this, we were having a really good conversation. I think it's a conversation that a lot of people deal with. And one of the things that we were talking about is I'm in a situation right now where I feel like I'm being completely manipulated and taken advantage of. And it's costing me more money than I would like for it to cost. And I'm trying to figure out how to maneuver through this situation. And it's been, I've given it a lot of time, and now I'm at a point where I'm just like, enough's enough. We're doing things a different way. And it kind of took me back to when I was in my addiction. And I definitely did my share of manipulating people and using them to get what I wanted out of life. And I think that that's pretty common. We really do hurt a lot of people. And sometimes we do it in our addiction, sometimes we do it in our sobriety while we are still healing. And tell me a little bit about that. What is your experience with that?
Oh, it's a great topic, Tara. Thanks. Yeah, I can say, because of what we talked about when I first got here in our conversation about boundaries and other people violating your boundaries, it sounds like, I stopped drinking almost 7 years ago. And really, the bulk of my emotional and spiritual maturity has taken place in about the last 5 or 6 years of my life. And a lot of that really, I had to go inside and look at myself and consider what was happening when I was drinking, and all of the things that very close family members said to me. My mother, my now ex-wife, had made comments to me, and I couldn't quite understand it until I was able to put the alcohol aside and sober up and become a little more lucid, actually, very lucid, without having alcohol influence my way of thinking. And it took me working a 12-step program and going through the process of uncovering why I drank the way I drank, the resentments that I had against other people. And I noticed my one epiphany about my fourth step was that there was one thing all my resentments had in common, and that was me. So what I learned from that was that I had a problem. I had a problem with the way I was perceiving what was happening in my own life. And I did come across many memories about how I did what you're talking about when I was drinking. There's a problem of being selfish and self-centered
Mm-hmm.
when we're in an addiction, whether we realize it or not. And I don't think we do until we sober up, until we work a program of some kind of self-reflection. It doesn't have to be a 12-step program, but there are a lot of that doesn't appeal to everybody, but there are a lot of avenues to get help and to get the reflection necessary to understand what our part is in what happened in our lives. The victim mentality, I like the air quotes,
Yeah.
the victim, to play the victim, that serves no one. It's really I'll just call it, for myself, I felt pathetic. That's really how I felt whenever I would play the role of the victim.
Yeah.
It's a pathetic way to live. And I only say that that's what I learned about myself, was that I didn't want to live in victimhood, victim mentality, blaming other people. There's a lot of power that you can take back, control of your own life, your own decisions, when you take full responsibility for everything that's happened, which I think I have. I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. I don't think any of us will ever be perfect, but we are evolving.
Yeah.
It's possible to get better.
Yeah.
It's possible to grow. I firmly believe that I've become more emotionally mature in the last 5 or 6 years than I have in the first 50. I'm 56, so it's kind of easy. I quit drinking right about when I was 6 months before I turned 50.
Nice.
So I was almost 50 years old, and I used to joke with people and say I'm a 15-year-old boy trapped in a 50-year-old man's body.
Yeah.
Because I was. There's a theory, I think, that's pretty prominent. I don't know if it's a theory or if it's just, a fact in psychology, that when people like myself start drinking at 12, I did. The first time I got drunk, I was 12. 13, 14, I hear that a lot from other people, that they started drinking at a really young age. That's really when we start searching for a substance, external or outside of ourselves, to change how we feel on the inside. And that's what we're doing, instead of feeling those feelings and coping, learning the coping skills that people who don't turn to substances or addictive styles, addictive types of behavior, use to manipulate themselves, manipulate their own feelings and their own emotions. And for me, it was the numbing effect of the alcohol, that I didn't have to feel the things that I didn't want to feel. But I also stunted my own emotional growth, meaning that I stopped growing emotionally and never acquired the skills that I needed to act like an adult, to really have the emotional maturity to be able to process feelings without melting down, flipping out, lashing out. Those things require practice.
Yeah. I totally resonate with what you were talking about being the victim, because I lived for a lot of years about being a victim, and there's a lot of reasons for it, and some things within my control, some things out of my control, and then a lot of the things that were in my perception, out of my control, those things were tough to deal with. And I had those conversations that went on and on and on for years and years and years. And what I finally had to come to terms with at some point, and honestly, I only came to terms with it within the last year or so, is, because you talked about, taking responsibility for your role and not being a victim anymore. I realized that my role with a lot of the stuff was I held on to it for so many years. And coming to terms with what my role was in a lot of the things that caused me to stay in my addiction and in my sickness, that was really eye-opening for me. And even in this particular situation that I am in, I sit there and I think, what is my role? What is my role? And it's really, it can be really difficult coming to terms with what your role is, because it's easier, for me, it's easy to be a victim.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just a safe space.
Yeah.
It's to stay in this victim place. It's not so safe when you take responsibility and you're just out there. I don't feel like that's such a safe space. However, it is, like you mentioned, it does. I don't feel pathetic when I'm letting myself just be out there. I don't feel pathetic. I don't feel sad. I don't feel depressed. And so I do remember how that felt. It's just absolutely pathetic.
It's a powerless place to be.
Mm-hmm.
There's no power in that, and I think because of a lot of us, the people, I would say, and when I say a lot of us, the people that find themselves addicted to alcohol, drugs, and any number of other behaviors, I believe, this is just my personal experience, being raised in a church and taught about God. I also served as an ordained priest in my church that I grew up in for 12 years, and having a relationship with God. That didn't stop me from drinking. That didn't. I thought God and I were pretty tight, when I was growing up in church. But that relationship that I have with my higher power didn't stop me at the time from abusing alcohol and drugs. It really didn't. But my personal opinion and my personal beliefs are that we're here to learn and grow, and whatever that means for each person. We're on our own little individual spiritual journeys, whether we acknowledge it or realize it or not. We are more than just a human body. We're a spirit having a human experience, and that's my favorite short little phrase about the inner reflection that's required to evolve spiritually, emotionally, mentally, is know thyself. That we have to know ourselves, and that phrase, know thyself, I just looked this up to make sure I wasn't misquoting it before, so it's not like I'm some kind of scholar, but it's written on the Temple of Apollo in Greece, in Delphi. That's what's written on the entrance of the temple in Greece, is know thyself. And that goes way back to Socrates and other ancient philosophers that have talked about inner reflection. So when you mentioned that you were struggling with really knowing what's in your control and what's not, I've always found, and this took me some time to grow into this understanding. I heard in a meeting about the serenity prayer specifically, that our serenity prayer says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, and that's everything outside of me. Mm-hmm. The courage to change the things I can, that's everything inside of me. That's how I react, how I respond to external circumstances. And the wisdom to know the difference is really just having the awareness at most times or all times to know that the only thing that I really have power over is how I respond. I used to react out of, it was more like a reflex. My reaction was one of anger usually. In the throes of addiction, it was always a reaction, and now I've learned to pause, which is another tool of our 12-step program, to pause, just take a moment and think about and really contemplate, to sit through those feelings and emotions before lashing out at someone else. And I try to look at anger. I was a very angry drunk. I try to look at anger, Tara, the same way I look at alcohol. It's not for me. It might be for other people, but nothing good ever happened when I got angry with my ex-wife, with my family, with my 2 sons growing up. When I got angry, nothing good ever happened out of the reaction that was born out of anger. So now I put the anger right up there with alcohol. I do. That's not a reaction I want to utilize as a tool to deal, to persuade, to handle my relationships with other people, especially the people closest to me. That's where I think we struggle with our boundaries, which is what we were talking about before the meeting, that I'm able to give grace now to other people, but the anger also is an indication that when we do get angry, that's an indication that there is a boundary that we have that has been violated. So anger does serve a purpose, but I try not to let it control me.
Right.
Okay, when I get angry, that's when I'm understanding someone has done something to me, whatever it is, manipulated me, used me in a way that I'm not comfortable with, and I'm not going to allow that going forward. However, I don't have to react the way I used to react when I was drinking now, because I have the tools. I've been given a spiritual toolbox by my 12-step program that I never really had prior to working a program and making a decision to stop drinking. Now that's my spiritual toolbox. Is I pause, I say the serenity prayer, I pick up the phone and call someone else in the program that has a legitimate understanding of right where I'm at. A friend, usually a trusted friend, someone, a closed mouth friend, someone that won't spread or repeat our business to others in the group.
It's an important friend to have.
Absolutely.
Hard ones to find, even in sobriety, they can be hard to find, but those are really good friends to have.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Wesley. This has been a really good conversation, and I appreciate it. You said you've been sober for 7 years. What keeps you here? Why do you stay?
Oh, well, that's a good question. I have said this before when I've shared in meetings, that there are certain words in the book, the text that we use for our 12-step group, that like calamity, that word calamity, that's what I used to have in my life, and now I have serenity. And the thing that I like to say when I share in meetings that is that and in a way, I guess you could say I'm addicted to that serenity too, but it's a higher state of being that I want to be in. But what I've said in meetings before is I wouldn't trade the serenity I have now for the calamity I had then for anything. I like this feeling. I like the serenity that I've been given, the peace in my heart, in my spirit, in my life. I wouldn't trade it for anything. It took me a while, about a year. That's why when I say I haven't had a drink in 7 years, but the growth has really taken place over the last 5 or 6 years because it took some time from the time I stopped drinking to find a sponsor, to work a 12-step program, to go through that work. Took about 1.5 to 2 years. So a lot of that growth has taken place because of and as a result of working that 12-step program with another person. And that I've been given some gifts I wouldn't trade for alcohol, drugs, or anything else in the world. And that is mindfulness, awareness. I've been given the serenity. It's otherworldly. It really is. It's a spiritual feeling that I love, and I don't want to. It took me about a year to understand that I was addicted to drama. I was addicted to the stress hormones that the brain manufactures when stress is, your brain is the best pharmacist in the world, and you can train your brain to produce hormones that produce good feelings, the dopamine, the serotonin. I'm not a neurosurgeon, but I've read about these things. Like all you have to do is Google, what's the difference between all of the hormones. There's a couple thousand of them, I think, that the body and the brain in particular produce to induce certain states of being. And cortisol is the stress hormone, and that's it does have some good effects, but most of them are negative. But you get addicted to feeling the stress. You get addicted to feeling the rush of energy, anger, whatever feelings you might feel. I did. I don't know about other people. I would assume it's very similar. People have had similar experiences.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I like about exercise, getting out and going to the gym and running when I can and doing things like that, because it's a natural lift. What is the word I'm looking for?
It's a boost.
It's a boost to your attitude, everything. It's just natural, and it lasts for a long time. Yeah, I used to be addicted to drama too. As a girl, I still like a fair amount of drama, but not the same kind of drama.
No,
not the same kind of drama. And I don't welcome it into my life like I used to. But thank you so much for coming and talking with me today. I really enjoyed this with Wesley. And you have any plans to go back to Costa Rica?
No, I'll probably go someplace different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get to go. I get to go next time, so I'm gonna hitch a ride.
It's bucket list kind of activities, the things that I've wanted to do, and it's it's only possible as long as I stay away from alcohol and drug addictions. That the life that I have now, I wouldn't trade that for any of that. It's too precious to me. And thank you. It was an honor to be here with you and to talk about this, and hopefully someone out there can relate and reach out. We're not meant to do this life journey by ourselves.
It doesn't have to be hard either.
No.
All right, mine is an Alaskan cruise coming up in July, so I'm very excited about that. That's my bucket list.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to thank you again for watching the videos today. Again, every Monday at 3:30, be posting either live or pre-recorded videos with see how the weeks go. If you would like to share your story, please contact me. I'd love to have you on. I know that your story can really help those that hear it. Your best life is out there waiting for you. Connect with me and we'll find it together. I hope everybody enjoys their Monday, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a good one.